What's up, everybody? It's the journalist Sin-seer, and today I have the pleasure of speaking with Grea8 Gawd. Thank you so much for joining me this evening.
Nah, I appreciate you, my brother. Thank you.
No doubt. Let's get to know you a little bit better in 2023. But before we do that, let's take a journey back in time and see where you started off and how you came to become Grea8 Gawd. So, for Grea8 Gawd, where were you born and raised?
Born and raised in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Okay.
Yeah. Born.
Raised there as well?
Nah, not raised there. I was raised from in Milwaukee until I was like 3. Then went to Waterloo, Iowa. Then went to Des Moines, Iowa. Then Brooklyn. So yeah, man.
Okay. Were you pursuing music while you were in Iowa and Wisconsin?
Yeah, in Iowa, yeah, I was pursuing music. That's when I really started. I was writing. I was beginning my writing stages there, and once I moved to New York is when I really started taking it real serious. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, let's give the people a little timeline. So your transition from Iowa to New York, what year are we talking about?
91.
91.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
how was that transition from Iowa to New York?
Uh, I mean, so I have been going back and forth, right? So
Hmm.
the transition wasn't a crazy culture shock for me because I had already, I should go back and forth to go visit my father, every once in a while. So the transition was a smooth transition. I always prided myself on being a chameleon anyway, and being magnetic and just being somebody that could truly, you know, anywhere on God's green earth I could make it. You know what I'm saying? And
Right.
get along with people and I'm a people person, man. So I can make it wherever we at, man. They could sit me a, in a cornfield in Nebraska. You know what I'm saying? With the corn huskers, and I'm a
Right.
figure it out.
No doubt. But you started out writing very early in age, maybe 6 years old. Can you talk a little bit about that?
So yeah, like those days was like just basically writing poetry, like traditional poetry, and which made a national transition into song form and me learning song form after a while and things of that nature. But early on it was more like, yeah, just poetry and spoken word almost type of poetry, but not really getting up speaking though, but just actually just jotting stuff down in my pad for when the day come. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And then periodically I would let my older brother hear what I had written down. And I would let my uncle and my aunt understand. I would let them hear what I had written down. And that was my first battery in my back to like, oh nah, that sound dope. You know what I mean? Keep going, keep going. And then, once I got to Brooklyn, it was like, I would let the homies hear me rap every once in a while. And when I would be at Harlem, I would let my homies hear me rap every once in a while. And then, it was like, oh nah, first of all, he different because he not really wasn't born and raised in New York, so he got a different twang and a different lingo. So, but then once living in New York all them years, you adapt, and it's like, oh nah. So at first it was, oh nah, he dope from being from somewhere else. Then it was just like, oh nah, his son crazy, like he different.
Right. What were some of your musical influences earlier on? Did that take place when you went to New York, or were you listening to hip hop early on in Iowa?
I always listen to hip hop. Um, my man Young taught me about East Coast hip hop. So when I would get in his car, he already had Tribe Called Quest, you know what I'm saying, Diggable Planets. You understand what I'm saying? He already had Daylight at potholes in his lawn and all that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
He already had all of that. So when I would get in his car, he was already playing that type of music. So for me, it was like, oh, like I love the East Coast music off the rip. But although I was a big. I listened to a lot of Spice One, a lot of E40, a lot of Mac Moore. I listened to a lot of them too. So that's why like my delivery and my musical palette is so well versed because I literally listen. I went from listening to just one thing to listening to a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little jazz, a little old R&B, you know what I'm saying? 70s R&B, you know what I'm saying? Even before I was born, I'm listening to that. So, like that's where that come from.
Right. Earlier on, were you always solo or were you in a group?
Now, I always been solo. I
Okay.
always been solo. Yeah.
Did you have a mentor earlier on showing you how to format the lyrics and kind of your delivery, or are you self pretty much developed?
No, I definitely have mentors. Sal Chazari was one of my mentors. Mike Childs was one of my mentors. Being around my man Just One, I really learned how to like structure bars. You understand? And like, traditionally structure records. My man Daryl Cathy, DC Maestro, he was a big inspiration for me and a big mentor because he had one of the first studios that I was going to in Rochester, New York. And he showed me a lot about song structure and incorporate, like, he's a real producer. He plays and do all of that. You know what I'm saying? So he taught me a lot about song structure and how to put songs together and how to make records and not just be a spitter, but to actually make records. So like right now you hear Great God is, people be like, oh no, this nigga, he could spit crazy, but that's just because that's what I'm giving y'all right now. I'm really, really good at putting records together.
Right. Could you
But
talk a
right
little?
now, I just want them to see the animal. You understand?
Right.
Right now, it's wolf season, so that's why you get the what you get from me right now. But eventually, I'm gonna bring out some records that people, I'm sure, are gonna be very surprised about. Like, oh, I didn't even know he could do that. Oh, he does that. He does that too. Like, oh, okay. You understand?
Right. Can you
Yeah.
talk a little bit about your creative process? Do you have to have the beat first, or are you always constantly writing in the notepad and kind of, waiting on the beat?
So funny that you mentioned notepad because I do still write my rhymes in a pad.
Right.
Um, but it don't always have to be with the beat. Like right now, me and my god brother Dow was just sitting here, right? A female sent me a message and then she sent me the picture and I saw her smile. When I saw her smile, I instantly thought of a bar. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, and that's without the beat. So, but normally I'm always writing something down, whether I got a beat or not. The beat is always just a compliment, but sometimes, being able to get beats from my God brothers and my team, the God Squad. We got about 8 in-house producers, man. So I'm very, very spoiled when it comes to always getting beautiful music and beautiful palettes of music and production to pick from. So
Right.
I'm never at a shortage when it comes to that.
That's very dope. At what point did you start studying 5%?
In '93.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you went to New York 91.
Yeah.
So how did that come about? Somebody
Yeah.
led? Okay.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. My uncle Atiba, and then the guy Yusef. Those was probably the first ones that really was every day with the lessons and really intrigued me into wanting to have knowledge of self. And then like I would hear it in the records. But mind you, like now I'm listening to a lot of Wu-Tang, I'm listening to a lot of Rakim, and I'm like, damn, okay, oh, that's what the God was talking about. You understand? So then I got heavy into it, and then it became a thing where it was like I engulfed myself in the lessons. And, I took pride in being able to quote my degrees faster than everybody else and be fluent with my degrees. So, that's how you get Great God.
Great God came out as a 5% nation. Is that correct?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. Very dope. Can you tell us a little bit about the concept behind the mask?
Yeah, the mask is a very simple concept. Listen to what's being said and not who's saying it. Um, so many times we get caught up in the theatrics of artists and rappers and what do they look like and what kind of car does he have and what girl is he messing with and what type of watch does he wear and nah, listen, all of that is old and it's trivial for me because I've been through it and really did all of that. So Now I want you to listen to these darts. Now I want you to hone into what's being said and know and understand that I'm better than the average bear. You know what I'm saying? Like, like don't come in this arena if you really don't got what it take. If you're not top tier MCing, and yeah, leave me alone. Don't invite me on your record. Don't, and I don't want to do no features. I don't want to. You understand? So
Right.
the mask is really to besides keeping my anonymity, which I love being able to take off the mask and live my regular life. It just just concentrate on what's being said. It's
Right.
far more important than what I look like.
Right. Has the mask always been a part of your persona?
Nah, not always. Nah, it hasn't always been there. But, you know, I said, you know what? I must take a break from doing this film and this TV stuff because rap got boring to me for a while. And I started to venture off and do other things that piqued my interest. And then when I saw the lyrics meant something again, and people was digging back into lyrical ability, and they was putting that on the scale of what makes an MC, I said, "Oh, okay, here we go. I've been waiting for this." Everything goes, it all comes back around, And I was
Right.
waiting for this day to come back around, and then once I did it, I'm like, man, they don't need to know who I am, man. Let me. They don't even need to know. Let me just put these records out and blow their head off. Let me just let them see how it go.
Right.
So yeah. Then I put the mask on. Now it's like not drinking or smoking. It's just intriguing to people. They're like, you never drank or smoked in your life? Like, how? How are you a rapper and you never drank or smoked? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So the mask is it's intriguing. It's a conversation piece. And like I said, I get to enjoy my regular life at all times.
That's very dope. Talk a little bit about paying dues out there. How was you getting your name known earlier on, as far as shows, just
Uh-huh.
anything?
Paying dues. I've been paying dues for a minute. You know what I'm saying? And I would say, in regards to paying dues, is just helping other people when I should have been helping myself. Helping other people reach the heights and levels that they aspire to be in when I could have helped myself, but unselfishly helping all of my homies and everybody else, utilizing my resources and allowing them to utilize my resources to push their careers forward and put mine on the back burner. You know, in regards to paying dues, I would say, I did a lot of features, man, and I did a lot of those features pro bono. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I did a lot of those features just to do them and really just to prove a point when I could have been asking for money. A lot of times, even now, I still do certain features for nothing. If I love the beat and I love the record, this is what I do. I'm not one of them guys that got this high horse and I'm on this high horse and it's like, oh nah, I want this and that and that, and then nah. If I like it, I'm gonna do it. So
Right.
the fruits of that and just being a genuine person and showing genuine love and respect to others, I feel like that everything, it's all coming back and it's landing in my lap right now at a time where God knows that I can handle it and be responsible with the level of fame that I'm gonna get. You know what I'm saying? The
Right.
the maturity level has definitely went up a couple notches. I got some maturing to do still, but for the most part, I feel like that God see my hard work and He know my drive, and obviously He know my intent in my heart, so He know that, oh nah, He ready now. He gonna do it and do it the right way.
Right.
Yeah.
You mentioned Just One earlier. Was that some of your earlier work on his project?
Uh, well, nah, so yeah, well, yeah. That was some of the earlier work. Yeah.
Okay. Can you speak on some of your earlier features before we work our way up to your debut project?
Yeah, so I got joints with some of everybody, Capadonna, uh Jadakiss, Havoc. I got Mob Deep features, man, Hell Rel, Aguilar, Uncasa, You know, a lot of the greats, man. A lot of the ones that people consider real spitters.
Right.
Um, yeah,
Not everybody can get a cut with Capadonna or a Jadakiss. So how did you
yeah.
develop relationships with guys like that as well as Mobb Deep?
So with the Jada feature came with from my boy Joey Majors. That was actually his record, and he asked me to be on it, but he already had Kiss on it. Now, me and Kiss already had a relationship because we did a record before, right? So my relationship with Kiss started through Fendi from the Come Up DVD, and I just told him I wanted to do a record with Kiss. He told me how much it cost, and I paid, and it was literally that simple. Now the new one, it wasn't that. It was a mutual respect thing.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
how did you end up meeting Rock Marciano?
So Rock Marcy is he comes through I met him through Ito from Rochester. New crack era, my guy Ito. I was telling him one day that I wanted a Rock Marcy beat. And when I told him I wanted a beat, he was like, "Oh, nah, that's my guy." And he called them right then and there on the phone. So then I was talking to Rock, and he was like, "Oh, nah, yo, okay, send me something. Let me hear where you at with it." So I started sending him records. And when I started sending him these records, he kind of was floored by the records I was sending him. He was like, "Yo, son, like you not you different. You got a little, you got something with you." He like send me a couple more. So I sent him a couple more. Next thing I know, he started inviting me to the shows. He started talking about me to influential other people. Things that people don't do in this industry. He started doing that. Genuine love and respect, and introducing me to the right key players, and telling people like, "Yo, this great God, you got to hear him." You know what I mean? Like he next up. He dope. And then we built our relationship and our rapport with each other from there. And I started going to more and more shows, and that he invited me out to rock at a show. Then we was like, you know what, we great independently, but imagine what we would do together. So we built about that for about a month and a half on the phone. And next thing I know, he was like, "Nah, yo, God, check your email." You know what I'm saying? "I got something in there for you." And it was a contract for Pimpire. And I'm like, "Yeah, like this is a no-brainer." You know what I'm saying? Like this is like getting a praise from Hove, in my opinion. So I'm like, "Yeah, come on, let's do it." And that's what we doing now. We working on the God Brothers EP, and I'm still working on the Still Snowing EP, which should be coming out in between the God Brothers. Me and Rock putting out God Brothers, but in between that, I'm gonna put out a second installment of Snow Day, which is called Still Snowing.
Uh, Very dope. What kind of conversations did you guys have during this time as far as your career and the direction you guys are moving forward in the future?
So a lot of times when Rock and I get on the phone, a lot of times we was talking about, he was asking me about family, and he, I'm currently going through something, and my 18-year-old son, his life is on the line right now. So he was just basically making sure that I was all right, what I'm saying, mentally. And we talk about rap, here and there, but it mainly was just getting to know each other. It was character assessment going on by both parties, just the solidarity of who we each are, and are we both really who we say we are. So
Right.
so we had a lot of those type of conversations initially, and then when it comes to the rap, it was just like, "Nah, bro, I want to see you win. So whatever I could do to facilitate or help you in that space, let's do it. Let's get it done." So it was those conversations be, "Yo, what's up? I'm about to send you these beats." All right. He sent me a beat. I sent him the record back in an hour. And he like, "Whoa, hold on, what the fuck? What's going on, man?" Because I started sending him records as I was doing them, but I do 3 or 4 records a day. So I know he probably was like, "Man, this man sending me all these records. Like, when you got time to do?" He like, "Yo, bro, you a machine." Like, and I'm like, "Yeah, God, this is what I do. This is really in my heart." You know what I'm saying? And I
Right.
think that was something that really sparked his interest too, like the work horse that I am per se when it comes to this music.
Is Snow Day your official debut?
That's my official debut.
Okay, let's take it back just a little bit and work our way up. We got hit with COVID in 2020. Where did you find yourself with all the lockdown? And as far as, getting your mind straight, as far as the direction that you wanted to go?
So in COVID, I created a TV series. I really wasn't doing music. I created a television series called Young Gods during COVID. And that got to be such a crazy thing that when, every time I uploaded an episode, I was getting 30, 40, 50 to 70, 80,000 views on it. And so then I started taking meetings about the TV series, you know what I'm saying? And I really wasn't doing a lot of music during COVID. At the end of COVID, I started doing music again, and I started putting out records here and there. And but that always been my problem. God, I always put the records out. I start, I stop. I start, I stop. I do it. I get bored. I won't stick with it, and then I jump back in when I feel like it. So that was always my main problem. Like, yo, is he serious or he can? And then you say you're gonna put out a project, you never do. Like, quit playing. I was just playing with my supporters and my fans at that time. And then my guy PR Dean and my homie Big G were just like, yo, bro, you keep making all of these excuses and you putting all of these hurdles in front of yourself that don't necessarily need to be there. You thinking that you need all this money and all this and that to just put the music out and let the people judge. Give them something to listen to judge who you are, and then see what happens. And that's when I put out Snow Day. And after that, man, I've been getting rave reviews about Snow Day. People, not me, but the people is saying, "Oh, it's classic. It's this. It's that. I don't have to skip no records. I ain't heard nothing put together like this in decades." And people like Lord Jamal and Premier. And so when I'm hearing the people that talk about my project like that, the people that I revere and people that I know have the power and the influence, the Rock Marcy saying like, "Yo, this is the Cocaine Bible." Like, this is different. A lot of people talk about that work and talk about that life, but the way you putting it together is different. So, that felt good to get that type of praise on my first time out.
Right. Those series that you were putting out, you say you're getting 30, 40, 70,000 views. What were the concepts behind those clips?
So the series was about young men that's forced to grow up in the hood, minus the father figure and the structure of a man in general, and being left to put it together on their own at 16, 17, 18, and just showing what they have to, what being in the streets really entail, the treachery, the envy, the lust, the greed, and the hate. And how do you expect somebody so young, an adolescent, somebody that probably never even been in the street, to ascertain like how like they don't it's hard enough for an adult to figure out how to navigate properly through these streets and through
Right.
these treacherous ways. But somebody that's 16, 17 years old, they don't stand a chance 9 times out of 10.
Right.
So that's what that was about. It was about like giving the young guys some knowledge and saying, listen, man, I know these streets look alluring because that's all they show us on Instagram. That's all we see is, oh, I ain't go to school. I ain't my mama wasn't there. My parents wasn't there. I got all this money. They doing all of this and all this. Yeah, that sound good, man. But is that really the life you want to live? And do you really know the consequences behind that life? And do you really want to go to war with your main man, your best friend, and because he jealous because you got a little bit more than he have? Like, that's what really happens in these streets. And that's the story that's not told. So that's what I was telling.
Right. What's the current status of that series? Is that something that?
Well, we shopping the series right now. I had a couple people that was interested in it, but now that the music is taking off and getting bigger, people circling back around asking me like, "Yo, what's up with that? What's up with the?" I want to give you a deal which encompasses the whole thing: music, film, everything. So, I've been talking to a few big people. Shout out to Chris Schwartz that started Rough Nation. You know what I'm saying? I've been in talks with him about putting something together. So yeah, man, we it's a lot of big things and nice positive things that's on the table right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Is that Chris Schwartz out of Jersey?
It's Chris. I think
He used
Chris.
to work with Outsiders, I believe, and a few other groups.
So Chris Schwartz is the one who founded the Fugees. He signed the
Right.
Fugees, Cypress Hill. You know what I'm
Gotcha.
saying? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Gotcha. Very
Rough
dope.
House Records. Rough House Records.
I got you.
Yeah, just sold his company for 100 million. Him.
Wow.
Right.
Can't
Yeah.
can't beat that. It's a good company to be around.
That's right. Great company.
Talk a little bit about that project with Joey Majors. How'd you guys meet?
So I knew Joey Majors since like 91. I met Joey Majors a long time ago. And he initially called me because he wanted to get Benny the Butcher on the record. And he know I got a good rapport with the Butch. So he like, yo, could you get Butcher on this record? And I'm like, yeah, I could call him right now for you. And I put it together, and then I end up going to Vegas, and we end up spending some days in the studio. Next thing you know, we had like 6, 7 records done. So we like, yo, let's just put an EP out. So we put an EP out. Then we worked on another EP after that called Menate that we never put out yet. So but Joey's more like a brother to me, man. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I know him longer than any of my rap compadres.
Dope. Wolf season dropped last year, I believe. What was the reaction when that hit the streets?
It was dope. The reaction we got was dope. I don't feel like we pushed it. I don't feel like we put the right push behind it, but the reaction was dope. You know what I'm saying? The people definitely tuned in and was like, oh, okay, yeah, I got something good here. You know what I'm saying? The reaction was dope. I feel like that we need to re-release it though.
Right. Like you said, I believe Jada Kiss was on that, Mobb Deep, Benny the Butcher. What kind of feedback did you get from these artists after they heard the tracks?
After they heard the records that they was on?
Yeah.
Oh man, they all loved them. Like Havoc really loved the Mobb Deep record. He didn't even know Prodigy was gonna be on there. He didn't know that Joey had a Prodigy verse. And then he loved the beat. Thanos did the beat. He was like, yo, I thought that was one of my old beats. Like, I'm thinking, when did I do this? So he loved it. Butch, Benny, he loved it, the record that we did. We got good feedback, man. I never spoke to Kiss about how he felt about the record yet, but yeah, we definitely, like, he definitely retweeted it, put it on his page. So, it was good feedback, man. It wasn't nothing that we could complain